for EverDave, yeah, that's my name. 3 highs in the low.
Hey, good morning everyone. My name is Dave and I want to welcome you to another reading of the Old Testament. Our goal here is to read through the entire Bible chapter by chapter. We've completed the New Testament already and now we're in the Old Testament. And we are in 1 Samuel chapter 30 if you'd like to follow along today. If you don't have a Bible, I like the Blue Letter Bible app if you're looking for an app. And then I love this NASB95 edition. It's probably my favorite edition of the Bible. And I have read a bunch of them. But there'll be a link down below to this Bible if you're looking for one here on YouTube. All right. 1 Samuel chapter 30. This is a little bit longer chapter, so stay with me. It's going to cover David's victory over the Amalekites. The plunder is divided, and it's going to be a total of 31 verses. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And like I said, if you want to follow along, please go ahead. If you're just listening, that's great as well. Then it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the 3rd day, and the Amalekites had carried out an attack on Negev and on Ziklag, and had overthrown Ziklag and burned it with fire. And they took captive the women and all who were in it, from the small to the great, without killing anyone, and drove them off and went their way. When David and his men came to the city, behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives, their sons, their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him raised their voices and wept until there was no strength in them to weep. Now David's 2 wives had been taken captive, Ahinoam the Jezreelites and Abigail the widow of Nabal the Carmelite. Also David was in great distress because the people spoke of stoning him, for all the people were embittered, each one because of his sons and his daughters. But David felt strengthened in his Lord, in the Lord his God. Then David said to Abiathar the priest, the son of Ahimelech, please bring me the ephod. So Abiathar brought the ephod to David, and David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue this band of raiders? Will I overtake them? And he said to him, pursue, for you will certainly overtake them, and you will certainly rescue everyone. So David left, he and the 600 men who were with him, and they came to the brook Besor, where some who were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 who were too exhausted to cross the brook Besor stayed behind. Now they found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David, and he gave him bread and he ate, and they provided him water to drink. They also gave him a slice of a fig cake and 2 cakes of raisin, and he ate, and his spirit revived, for he had not eaten bread or drunk water for 3 days and 3 nights. Then David said to him, to whom do you belong, and where are you from? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, a servant of an Amalekite, and my master abandoned me when I became sick 3 days ago. We carried out an attack on Negev of the Cherethites, and on that which belonged to Judah, and on Negev of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. Then David said to him, will you bring me down to this band of raiders? And he said, swear to me by God that you will not kill me or hand me over to my master, and I will bring you down to this band. Now when he had brought them down, behold, they were dispersed all over the land, eating and drinking and celebrating because of all the great plunder that had been taken from the land of the Philistines and from the land of Judah. And David slaughtered them from the twilight until the evening of the next day. And not a man of them escaped, except 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. So David recovered all that the Amalekites had taken and rescued his 2 wives, and nothing of theirs was missing, whether small or great, sons or daughters, plunder or anything that they had taken for themselves. David brought it all back. So David had captured all the sheep and the cattle which the people drove ahead of the other livestock, and said, this is David's plunder. When David came to the 200 men who were too exhausted to follow David and had been left behind at the brook Besor, and they went out to meet David and to meet the people who were with him. Then David approached the people and greeted them. Then all the wicked and worthless men among those who went with David said, since they did not go with us, we will not give them any of the spoils that we have recovered, except to every man his wife and his children, so that they may lead them away and leave. But David said, "You must not do so, my brothers, with what the Lord has given us, for he has protected us and handed us over the band of raiders that came against us. Who will listen to you in this matter? For as it is the share of one who goes down into battle, so shall be the share of the one who stays by the baggage. They shall share alike." So it has been from that day forward that he made it a statute and an ordinance for Israel this day. Now when David came to Ziklag, he sent some of the spoils to the elders of Judah, to his friends, saying, "Behold, a gift for you from the Lord, spoils of the enemies of the Lord, for those who were in Bethel, to those who were in Ramoth of the Negev, to those who were in Jatir, to those who were in Aror, to those who were in Sifmoth, to those who were in Eshtemoa, to those who were in Rakal, to those who were in the cities of the Jerahmeelites, to those who were in the cities of the Kenites, to those who were in Hormah, to those who were in Bor Ashan, to those who were in Ashtach, to those who were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men walked. All right, that concludes chapter 30 of the book of 1 Samuel. It looks like there is only one more chapter left, and then we get to go into 2 Samuel. All right, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then like and share this video and help me share the gospel of Jesus Christ. All right, thanks so much. God bless.